Well, I just saw some words that said the webinar has started. I love it. Welcome everybody to the webinar. And we're so excited to be here today with you. We're going to go over a lot of great stuff. Please be ready to take notes. Have a paper and pencil, pen, whatever. This is called Squeezing Profits from Every Contact. And I now see that we're live streamed. So welcome to everybody from the live stream. My name is Andrew Dorn. I am with Follow Up Boss, and I'm pumped to be here today because not only are we going to talk about how you can squeeze more profits from all your contacts in your database, but our special guests, Barry and Greg, will also unveil secret CRM marketing techniques, well, both for your CRM and for marketing techniques that will absolutely boost your database earnings. And I know all of you want that. And before I intro anyone, I wanted to let you know that yes, you will get a recording of this. So yes, take notes on the stuff that's most important to you and you're going to implement in your business, but you will get a recording. In addition, if you have any questions, please use the chat box and ask questions throughout. We're going to address as many of those questions either on the fly or at the end as we can. And we have the wonderful Michelle with Ylopo who's going to answer your questions in that chat box as well. If you have any questions, just go ahead and type those in. And even at the end, we'll have time for Q&A. And one thing I wanted to do before any introductions is also talk about what you can learn today or what you will learn today. The first thing is the most effective strategies to revive dead leads in your database automatically and to maximize those profits from every single contact. The other thing we're going to talk about is how to segment your database, create targeted campaigns, and track your results to continually increase that ROI. It's not being complacent, it's not settling, continuing to increase that ROI. And then some simple tweaks you can make in your CRM that will work for you. So we want your CRM to help you be more successful, not something that's a pain or something that's working against you. So really, that's keeping it simple, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So without further ado, I want to introduce our first special guest, Greg Holthaus, who actually owns and operates two brokerages and a property management firm where he owns commercial and multifamily portfolios, actually has over 450 units. That's unbelievable, Greg, in Illinois. He's an avid user of Follow Up Boss, has been for a long time, also leverages Ylopo in his business and for his coaching. Back in 2016, he coached the Tom Ferry coaching program, the network, and he super excelled at that and became a top real estate coach while running a top real estate team. And he now coaches teams in 38 markets across the US. Greg, you look great. Without further ado, how you doing today?
Wonderful. Just happy to be here and educate people on what these powerful systems can do for them.
Great, Greg. I can't wait to hear all the tips and strategies you've developed over the years. This is not just something you've done in the past few months. This has taken years to get where you are today. And now it's time to introduce our special guest, our second special guest, who just popped in, Barry. That's amazing timing. Barry Jenkins. He started his career in real estate at 18 years old, or I probably should say 18 years young. That's a real estate baby, if you ask me. He leads a very successful team of 100 agents in Virginia Beach. He's a senior executive at Ylopo and started that at 2016. He's also the author of Amazon's bestseller, Too Nice for Sales. Love that title. Barry, you're looking good, man. How are you today?
Thanks, buddy. Apologize for being a couple minutes late. I got some sick kiddo at home today, and he's appropriately distracting. So, but I am excited to share with all those in attendance, along with Greg, all of the things that we're doing currently to see positive ROI on our investment in it from a digital marketing perspective and things like that. So yeah, really excited about all of it.
It's so great. And, we really have two powerhouses on today, everyone. You're going to learn a ton. I'm going to repeat myself. Take out a pen and paper and get ready to write notes on the most important things. But I will remind you, for those that are joining late, and I see tons of people joining right now, this is being recorded. You will get the recording. So do not fear. We will get that to you. And really, without further ado, I just wanted to let you know that, again, Q&A will happen hopefully throughout the webinar and at the end. So we're going to save time at the end. And to start it off, Greg and Barry, really, you know, the first part is talking about the most effective strategies to revive dead leads in your database. Now, some people may have 500 dead leads, some may have 5,000. We're not exactly sure who's on with us, but we do know ways where we can maximize and bring those dead leads back to life.
Yeah, no, excited. I'm excited to share with the group. You know, one of the things that over the last 6 months I've been taking on. Nobody asked me to do this, but you know, I recognized there was an opportunity for teams that had a large database to you know, not just respond to showing requests. You know, I would say Zillow and Realtor.com are you know, normally people that they pick out a house and they want to see the inside of it. And those are fantastic. They're expensive, but they're fantastic. But there's an opportunity in our database of people that they haven't quite picked out a home to see yet, and they're on our website. You know, the alert that I tend to get that a lot of teams aren't capitalizing on in our system is when the lead has looked at the same house 3 times. Ylopo users get a priority alert, and it says, John looked at the same house 3 times. And it's like, you know, who cares? You know, I'm waiting for showing requests, right? I mean, and that website activity of leads that are looking at your database and they're are looking at homes on your website, when you can monetize that activity, it's very powerful. And so what I've been doing is I've been helping large teams follow the same playbook that I am, and that I'm going to share with you guys today. And that is to take everybody that's in your database that's older than 30 days. I pick that number arbitrarily, that's been on your website in the last 30 days. And I could add a bunch more granular activity to that, but for now, I'll just leave it there. Older than 30 days, been on your website in the last 30 days. And what we decided to do was we created a smart list. In our follow-up box CRM, all smart lists are just filters that were similar to that. And I added another filter that says, we haven't called in the last day. And so, you know, right now I think I have maybe 400 people that are active, not called in the last day, not converted after 30 days, but they've done something important. And so my team is calling those people. And all we're doing is we're saying, hey, you've been in our system a while. We got to your name and we didn't see in the notes if you ever found a home. So we just figured we would check before we remove you from our system. So we're taking it away from them. We personify an administrator. We're not a salesperson. We're just, hey, just trying to clean things up, right? And the result, I've got some stats here. So far this year, and I'll give all the stats. So we got 2,000 Ylopo leads. We got 18% of the Ylopo leads we set an appointment with, 372 total. And 100 of them were from AI setting the appointments. We've got 26 either under contract or closed. So 1.5% of those new leads are closed. But interestingly, 19 leads this year are over 3 years old that came from this list. So these are leads that we bought 3, 4, 5 years ago. That because we decided we would organize website behavior into a list by just simply creating a list of leads that were older than 30 days, that have been on our website in the last 30 days, and we haven't called in the last 24 hours. My team is finding old but active leads. And I would argue for those listening right now that the only thing that's more valuable than a new lead is an old lead that still hasn't found what they're looking for. And I think as an industry, and Greg, I'd be interested to hear what you think about this, but I think because I know you work your sphere a lot, I think we've been kind of tricked by some of the, big lead providers. And look, I wish I thought of Zillow. I'm not mad at Zillow. I think Spencer Rascoff is a great guy. Like I don't have any hate for him, but they've created a demand for us as agents that we think we need new leads. And when you have a database, I would say over 3,000 would be my metric. But when you have over 3,000 people, you've got enough people that you can operationalize just regular old website activity. And the result is fantastic. This is what Zillow does. This is what Redfin does. This is what Realtor.com does. They monitor the data and they capitalize on it. Wouldn't you agree, Greg?
100%.
Or maybe disagree?
No,
for a better way.
No, I definitely agree with what you're saying. Retargeting, when it started, I went and took a course with Cardinal Path, and I wanted to learn how to do it myself. And I can tell you, I was never so happy when I found out that Ylopo provided this service, because it's a daunting task. I went to I went and got my certification in Chicago, and at the time, I'm dating myself, but you had to be AdWords and analytics certified for any PPC that you did on Google. And then I had to learn, Facebook ads. And as an agent, that was a huge challenge. We're here to sell property, and the work that's done for you through Ylopo, that is pretty much, doing the same exact thing that the big guns are doing at a fraction of the cost is amazing. And I think that it's something everybody should take part in.
I love the topic
Absolutely.
of monetizing website activity, especially as Barry said, these folks are a gold mine that at one point were interested in buying, they never did, and now you're resurfacing those, and you describe those as even a better lead, which is, I could see that. I'm wondering if it's a good time to share maybe Greg or Barry's screen and actually get into some of the actual kind of behind the scenes, how this all works.
I'm happy to. I called my ISA this morning and told him, I said, whatever you do, don't respond to the wide priorities, because I need to demo those today. But Barry, if you'd like to go first, I'm happy to follow. So I'm just excited to dig in. So shoot, Barry, and then
Sure.
I'll show you what we do behind it.
Sure. What I'll do quickly, and this is not about Ylopo. This is not about follow-up ops. This is about website activity and operationalizing it to make money. So if you have follow-up boss as your CRM, you need a marketing engine bringing people back to your website. I use Ylopo. I'm biased, right? I've been working there for a long time. But the reason why they hired me is because my team did really well really quickly. But this is that list I was just telling you guys about. So they've been on my website over the last 21 days. I picked that number arbitrarily, right? Play with the filters to make sure the result is what you want. And then I said, show me anybody that we haven't called in the last day. Now, what's interesting here, are you guys able to see my site? My internet's been kind of wonky all day.
Yes.
Okay. So check this out. When I sort this list, actually, let me remove one filter, last communication. Okay. When I filter old to new, I want you guys to see. So here's a lead from 2016 that we've never converted, but was on my website. You start to see these trends. Here's one from May 4th, 2017. 36 minutes ago, they were looking for a home, right? Why? What were they doing, right? They looked at 4 listings, and they've been in my system, and they looked at this specific house 3 times. This is a lead that's 6 years old, guys. And we get all caught up in just trying to focus on the new leads, which I do focus on the new leads, but old leads still using my website, you can really operationalize in a pretty fantastic way. And so I know this sounds simple, but if you look at your list, for most of you, your lists are made up of new and then your nurtures. That's for most of you. When you look in your CRM, you've got, all right, let me get my new leads. And then everybody I talk to, I need to organize my pipeline, which that's important, organizing all your relationships. But this category of all these people that you never spoke with, you know, I know agents that actually delete those leads out of their CRM. They trash them, right? And for me, I've got now, I started in 2016 with 6,000 people. Now I've got 249,000. I'm obsessed with it because I see the value in it. We just bought a brokerage. I'll tell you guys that story in a little bit, but with 100,000 people in it, right? And that was a big value add for me. They've got a huge database. Oh my gosh, you know, what can I do with that? So operationalizing all of your unconverted leads, organizing them and sorting them based off of their behavior is a cash cow for your business. So I stopped sharing, Greg, if you want to share yours.
Sure.
And before you go, Greg, I'm
Yeah.
gonna welcome everybody. We have so many people on. We have people as far as west as Hawaii. Thanks for joining, Rye. And we have people all the way east to New Jersey, Carlos, and everybody in between. They're all excited. I want to remind everybody that put your questions right where you're putting your town and state. In fact, anybody who hasn't let us know where they're from, go ahead and type that in too as well. But we'll be looking for questions throughout. So Greg, hopefully you're able to share your screen now.
Yeah, sure. But before I do, I just want to make this statement. I read at least a recent NAR study. And what they said was that the average consumer buying a home signs up for 10 different lead gen websites. And one of the beauties of retargeting is whenever you land them or you import from other sites, you have the ability to pull them from the big guns onto your site. And when you're have that conversation like, hey, we're the place where we can take care of you. We can provide all the services that the big guys can provide. And so, as I mentioned earlier, I had my sales ISA not do anything with our priority leads. And you can see activity on our site here pretty clearly. You can see this has been updated because of the visits. This is just the last 24 hours. And take notice the way Follow Up Boss sets this up is you have all of these consumers right here, but it tells you where they're from. And you can see that we're getting as many Ylopo as some of the others. But we tried to, in the sake of operationalizing it, make it easy. And I want to demo how easy this can be. So if you click into this person right here, you get to see, as Barry mentioned earlier, that they viewed the property 6 times. Now, these leads show up because of tags. And you can see this Y priority tag right here that allows it to be on this smart list. So I created text templates where you can just go to templates, Y priority, and then match the title to the task. So if they view property several times, you just hit click, and now my agent or ISA can hit send. So this is just one way that you can take advantage of the system by operationalizing it and looking and testing text templates that work and bringing people back to the site.
Yeah, super smart. We do have some questions.
Sure.
That I think are in line. How do you start a cold lead from someone else's database or old leads? So we are going to touch on that in another part of this webinar.
Yep.
Tactics, I guess, would be a good way to put it, of reviving old leads. And tracking, tracking those contacts on the website. I like last activity because that includes, let me share my screen. So last activity includes all activity, but another one is last site visit. Most CRMs have this. Follow Up Boss does a really good job. You notice, I've prioritized property saves, right? So like, what the heck is this person? Oh, this is the one from 42 minutes ago. That was from 2017. She saved 57 houses. This one from 2017 has saved 20. So the CRM does all that for you. You know, Greg, do you have a preference between last site visit and last activity?
You know, I think here in a little bit, I'll answer that in the column section
Okay.
that we've got, where I can
Okay.
go through each column. So I don't want to get the cart before the horse on that one, but yes, I have a lot to say about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And,
oh, go ahead.
well, and one point that we need to make too is if you are importing other leads, if you are utilizing other lead sources, one feature that Ylopo has that makes your life really simple and helps to operationalize is the creating of the Y priority link. So when you're looking through Follow Up Boss, there's a link, and based upon the information of how they come in, it creates a search for you, and you can easily click that link and go to what's called Ylopo Stars and edit the search after you talk to the person and put notes in the background. And so part of that process is understanding there's so much happening with just one lead from the time it comes in to make your life easier versus, hey, I know you've been doing this a while, Barry. I bet you remember going into the office with a list of all your new people that you talked to and getting on the MLS and setting up an automated search. Fix that problem.
Right. 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 Absolutely. No, I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
One thing I learned.
You're bringing in Op City, right? Sorry, Andrew, I cut you off.
Yeah, I
No
do
worries.
have Op City Market VIP with RDC.
And those numbers, I know that there was some interesting data around that you could share from just importing other lead sources into remarketing.
Right. Well, you know, I was talking with them, and I pointed out that I use the Market VIP program and Op City, and that's where a lot of my new people go. Well, I had a new gal that came on last year, and she became #1 in our market within the first year, and we were within the top 10%. So, you know, they track for us, right? And we were within the top 10%. And this woman never sold property before. And she just used the system, followed the directions, and the retargeting of these leads that come in with Op City. You know, we're finding that we're closing 5, 6, 8 months later. And also, you know, people don't reply sometimes for 3 or 4 texts or 3 or 4 calls. So it's that consistency of the system and constantly bringing that digital data. I always like the term reading online digital data. And that's really what we're doing. You know, we're becoming, like we call you the professor. You know, you got to strive to be the professor of reading the analytics that's being provided for you. And once you start to learn, it gets exciting because it's like, oh, this person's visited 15 times, they've saved 5 properties. Oh, wait. And I saw this on one of the Y priorities. They were a Ylopo seller lead. Now I've got a seller and a buyer. Maybe I should put together a packet, drop it off at their house, do an in-person visit, because you're going to get more than a buyer lead. You could sell their home too. Because the first action that a person that's going to sell takes is they start looking, and they want to find a place to see what's out there, and if they really want to make that move. So you can tell by this person's activity and the retargeting that they're going to do something. And so you can start to read the good ones when you get columns set up right.
Before we move on to like the importance of segmenting your database and really creating very targeted campaigns and easily tracking those results, Barry and Greg, I think Anthony's question is perfect for what we were just on, which is, it's a pretty simple question. What websites are you using that track the contacts in there? And let's go beyond Ylopo. Let's talk about Ylopo and how that works. But I know you have other sites as well, so I think that would be great for everybody to mention.
Are you speaking to me or Barry?
Both, but either one. Take it away on that. Like, what website how is Ylopo working to track those contacts that are actually searching and doing you know, activity, even those that haven't done activity in 2-3 years, and then maybe we could share some other websites that work for you as well, just to maximize the value.
Barry, is this worthy of you speaking to them about what Maverick does?
No, I mean, I still think it's the CRM. Like, you know, a lot of times I'm thinking of 4 companies right now that are the CRM and the marketing company. So you hire them, they run your ads, and they're a CRM. We call those all in one. So that's what it's always been since like 2010. And what Ylopo does is Ylopo is just a marketing, we generate leads, we remarket, and then we integrate with whatever CRM you are, which Follow Up Boss obviously is our deepest integration partner. And so when we're running our ads, we're sending the data of all of your leads into their CRM. And there's a marketing dashboard that you can actually track activity and things like that. But I prefer to use my CRM and teach my agents to use the CRM to track website behavior, because that's the easiest to action on. Because ultimately, what are we doing with the activity? Are we just excited that the ad is working? Well, that doesn't make you any money. What makes you money is when you're able to see that the person is active and you're able to action on it and have a conversation. And so the way that you do that is you operational. So you give your sales organization, whether you're the sales organization or the agents on your team are, the ability to easily find all of the people that are acting like they're interested. And that enables your sales team to have the right message to the right person at the right time. And that's when the magic happens, is when you call and you say, hey, did you ever find a home? Oh my gosh, I was just on your website. Yes, I am. That happens to us a lot. That's not like a freak thing anymore, because we've operationalized website activity in the place that my agents use to communicate with humans, leads that are looking for a home. And that's why we make money off of it. So, Anthony, that's a tremendous question. And I want you to go deeper, Anthony Florenzano, in that, and say not only how am I tracking, but how am I communicating with the contacts that are visiting? That's where the magic happens.
And Greg, I know you're leveraging Ylopo big time as well. But one beautiful thing about Follow Up Boss and why it works so well with Ylopo and others is it's a completely open platform where in addition, you can put a pixel on any website. And I know probably the vast majority of your leads are coming from Ylopo, but Greg, do you want to speak to that? How other sites that you may get
and I think I better
information from?
understand the question now. So thanks for the clarification. What I loved about Follow Up Boss is it plays with anyone. I mean,
right.
You can, and the ability to use the email parsing if there's not a direct API. So for instance, if you're working with potentially like sold.com or any of these other websites, you can put in your Follow Up Boss email so that when the lead source comes through that system, instead of it coming into your email box, it parses it in to Follow Up Boss. And that's one of the greatest features. Also, one of the features that I think is not talked about enough when it comes to marketing, if you're doing some of your own marketing and maybe stuff on your own website, is Follow Up Boss gives you the option to have phone numbers. And Steve and I the other day went through a real deep dive on the phone system that's available through Follow Up Boss. And you can create specific phone numbers that are going to be there for, let's say, a billboard ad. I have a lender partnership, for example, and that lender partner is going to use a special phone number for the billboard, and it will go into the lender inbox. And that way we know where our marketing dollars are working, whether it be a website, a billboard, even a radio ad. I can create a separate phone number for a radio ad to give out so that I know, hey, is this working? And I think that's one of the most undersold values of Follow Up Boss. So when it comes to tracking and measuring and be able to know where your marketing dollars are doing well, so you get a positive ROI, be sure to check out the phone number system as well.
That's awesome. And this list I put up is just a few of the integrations, Barry. I mean, basically any real estate website out there, Follow Up Boss can put a pixel on and track the activity and bubble up who's at the right time to talk to. And I know a lot of your business is that, Barry. So do you want to expand on that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I still buy leads from 3 other sources, But I'll tell you, in 2016 and 2017, I was still buying Zillow and Realtor.com leads. I'm not anymore, thankfully. They just priced us out of the market. But
Yeah.
I told Ylopo, similar to Greg, I want to create a search automatically. As soon as the lead from this other website hits my system, I want a search created similar to the home that they came in off of. And I want to run ads to them. Now, when we use the phrase dynamic remarketing, this was invented in 2017. And there's 4 companies that do it now. But I want everybody to understand what it is. Facebook decided they would help retailers. Let's use Nike. Someone goes on, they're logged into their Facebook account, and then on the same device, whether it's phone or computer, they go to Nike.com. Facebook knows about this because there's a tracking pixel on the website. And let's say they look for a $200 pair of size 13 black Nikes. Then they leave the computer, they don't buy anything. The next morning, Nike is going to send that data to Facebook, and then Facebook is going to go into the product catalog. Nike uploaded their spring shoe catalog into Facebook. And now Facebook is going to find all the other size 13 from $180 to $220, size 13 black Nikes. Ylopo and now other companies have decided, oh my gosh, like, could we upload the MLS this morning, every morning, and do the same thing? And that's exactly what happened. So now all these lead sources that Andrew just showed are now getting dynamically remarketed to. So now in their Facebook newsfeed, in their email, they are actually having a computer shop for them and find similar area, style, price, location, homes. And what we found is, as much as it hurts our ego, guys, realtors, we think it's about us, and we have our picture with our dog, and like we have that we're the #1, agent in the world, #1 on social media. Have you guys seen that award? I've always wondered what that means. But anyway, what does it mean, #1 on social? Anyway, we're like
#1
oh,
agent in the world.
yeah, exactly. The consumer actually just wants houses. The National Association of Realtors does a study on home buyers and home sellers every year, and always in the top 3, normally #1 is the consumer wants more photos of houses. That's what they want. And so when you're able to operationalize all these leads and push into their Facebook news feed and their Instagram feed homes that are similar in style to what they're looking for, you are always relevant. That's why database management becomes this like cash cow, because now you're putting the right house in front of the right person, and then you're sending that data into your CRM, you're organizing it into lists, and all your agents are doing is saying, hi, did you ever find a home? And surprisingly, people actually want to talk to you. And it works fantastic. I only ask my agents, like, Greg, plug your ears. I only ask them to call 20 times a day. Make 20 contacts a day, because their list is not as long as it used to be. They're not calling a cold list of prospects anymore. They've got a list of new leads. They've got a list of active leads that are looking, and then they've got their database contacts that they're still nurturing. But their day is so much more efficient that I don't need them to be a telemarketer for me anymore. I just need them to respond to activity. That's the key, is responding to activity.
Greg, that's great segue for you regarding really segmenting your database the right way. Like for example, one of the moving on to the kind of the next topic, one of the things you do is follow up with a free market report and annual home equity review, for example. That's segmenting your database and literally getting like listings from that. Do you want to expand on that and
Yes.
the power of that?
Yeah, and this is something we utilize in coaching a lot. And so let's talk about, first off, when you're setting this up, in Follow Up Boss, you have what's called a stage. And I define a stage as this is where the person lives. Like, this is where that person is right now. So if you have your closed, and a lot of people use the word, let's say this, SOI, sphere of influence. And they put closed and past clients in with their sphere. And I think there's a fundamental difference, and you can segregate those. Your sphere are friends and family that you've not had a connection with yet or talked to yet about real estate. So, Your past clients sphere, obviously people, or your past clients are people that you've transacted with. Now, they all follow under the same umbrella, but Follow Boss gives us the ability to segregate. So that's the first step, and understanding the difference and setting them up differently, because it's a different message. I'm going to talk to a past client a lot differently than I'm going to talk to someone who is, a friend. And then, of course, there's the struggle of, how do I talk to my friends? I hear this every day in coaching, and I'll give you a quick tip on that towards the end. But once you get them sorted, the first step is upload them. So find your digital database if you have one, or get in your phone, get everything exported to a CSV and run a big import. And then sort to the appropriate category. Once you do that, you can set up your smart list to call them, every 30 days or every 90 days, whatever the cadence is. It may be every 30 whenever you start, because you're new, because you're trying to get something going with your sphere. But, overall, we look at every 90 days. And then we have email templates and letters that we can send out to them. And so the past clients are I hear this all the time. They sold me the house. They never called or talked to me again. And that's something that I think that we should be capitalizing on. And I've got it set up. I'll share this with you so you can kind of get a visual of what it can look like. So let me go in here. So when we go to closed, all right, and I pre-sorted this for today's webinar. So right here are people that we're still trying to get in contact with, and these closed in 2022, and the last communication is set for 120 days, okay? And the stage includes closed. And whenever you have your columns set up, you can see when the last time you talked to them, and you can see, when it's created. And you can just basically not forget people. And you could utilize and create a text template for your concierge services. You could offer the free home evaluation once a year. And also, a great way is just to text them and say, hey, got this wonderful new tool, keeps you in the know, post-close. I'm going to be putting that on for you, and you're going to get email once a month to let you know what's going on in the neighborhood. And so now for the rest of your relationship with that person, you're the realtor for life, because they're getting that market report provided by Ylopo, and you're tracking it in Follow Boss. And same thing over here on the sphere. These are some of my new agents, and you can see the last communication is empty because these are new agents and we're uploading everything for them. And so same thing over here on these smart lists, or the filters, stages sphere, and then sources sphere, last communication more than 30 days. And so it's the combination of all things, though, that get it done. We talk about in coaching all the time, marketing is advertising to create awareness. You advertise to people, to make them aware of what you're doing, because it makes it easier to get rapport. And if you have good rapport, that leads to trust. And so whenever you get this all set up and you start calling, this is a little tip. People say, I don't know what to say. And I'll give you an example of what not to do. A couple of years ago, a buddy of mine moved back. I won't say his name for a sec. He may be watching. I don't think he is, but don't want to say anything bad about a past friend. But he called me, and he had moved to the area, and we were in high school together. And I'm driving down the Route 13, and I'm excited to hear from this guy. I mean, it's been since like 1997 since we talked and graduated high school together. I pull over, I'll never forget, I pull over in the mall parking lot to take his call. We talked for an hour. At the end of the call, he says, Craig, you've been really successful, and I've noticed that. I was wondering if we could have lunch and you could bring your list of clients, because of the industry I'm in, I think it's a good fit. And he wasted my day and made me really excited as a friend. And at the end, I wanted to be like, I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Click, never call again. And so, his approach was wrong. The right approach is to stay in touch. And when you do call people, say, hey, how you been? Establish rapport that's consistent with the relationship, and say, I really want to talk to you about my business. I have some really cool tools and services that I'd like to offer and set you up on, and they're free. You have a minute, would that be okay? And if you're upfront with your sphere and you have these wonderful tools, you're empowered to make the calls. And that's what I love about this combination. Barry, would you like to add anything on that?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting a lot of questions, to be honest with you. So I was answering questions in the chat, and I think this is a good segue into, because I'm getting a question right now about organizing your database. And so ponds are a concept that that I know of. I think 3 or 4 different CRMs have the ability to create a pond. Follow-Up has the ability to create unlimited ponds. I want you to look at ponds like a Dropbox folder, right? A file folder that you put files in, and then you give access to different people, access to either the files or the folders based on permissions and things like that. So for me, I use ponds to organize my new leads. I use ponds to organize my old leads that we never converted but are still active. And then I use ponds to organize all the old leads that we never converted that are dormant, they're not active. So for me, the way that I've named them is we've named the new lead pond Shark Tanks. All my agents, all my ISAs all work out of the Shark Tank. They hate it. They hate it because they're able to see what everybody else is doing. They would rather have round robin. What I've realized is I've manufactured scarcity. We have plenty of leads, but there's a compulsion now. They want to go find out if there's any that they could get. And so I'm getting more out of my agents because they see that the other agents in the firm are working harder than them. So it creates a healthy competition. After 30 days, if we never converted the lead, not Ponzi, not like a Ponzi scheme, ponds, like fishing pond. There's a joke there, but I'm not going to go down that road. All right, so after 30 days, I have a tag added in our action plan. That's like drip campaigns and follow-up. You can add tags to the lead. And so I added a tag on day 30 for all my leads. And the tag is lead audit. And then Follow-Up has the ability to create automation. Let me come in here. So here's my pond. You can see I've got Shark Tank with all these agents in it, right? Oops, what just happened?
We don't see your screen yet. There you go.
Okay, now it's, all right, so here's pond. So here's my Shark Tank pond, and I've given all these agents over here access to it. Then after 30 days, a tag is added, and the lead is either automatically moved out of the Shark Tank to the priority pond or the storage pond. And to do that, I use automation. So what I do is I'm going to create a new automation here, and I'm going to say anytime, just find a tag that says audit. Let's just use this one. But anytime this tag is added and the lead is in my Shark Tank, remember, that's where I send my new leads because it's better for lead distribution for my business. Doesn't mean it's better for yours. So if that tag is added and the lead is in the new pond and it's an important lead. Now, how do I decide what leads are important? In my ecosystem, Ylopo adds this tag when the lead does, it's like 30 different behaviors. Why priority? And then the other tag that Ylopo adds is something called hand raiser. So if the lead tag is added on the action plan on day 30 and the lead is unconverted, because that's in the Shark Tank, that's unconverted, and the lead is in the priority pond, I'm going to reassign the lead from the Shark Tank to the priority pond. And I want all my agents to know that I just added a lead to the priority pond. So I'm going to go ahead and add another action. And I'm going to add a note. Realize this is an old unconverted lead at this point.
Right.
But by doing this, I'm creating an ecosystem where everyone in the pond says, if you, I don't really do this, but if you don't call this lead, you're crazy. They all get this alert, right?
Yeah.
And then I could say, I'm talking to you. right? Ha ha ha. And you could add merge fields of the lead's name, the lead's number, and all that. Right? I'm talking to you, and then, you know, whatever lead is agent seeing it. But then I do the opposite. If the lead tag is added, right, on audit, and the lead is in the Shark Tank, and we're going to exclude these tags, and we're going to say, instead of reassigning it to my priority pond, which is all my old unconverted important leads, I'm going to add it to my storage pond. The storage pond is where I do a lot of mass email marketing, trying to revive my database. I've got about 150,000 leads in there, right? Still, and I'm not going to do a note there because it wouldn't do anything, right? And then, so that's my storage and my priority. But what happens if they save a home, or they view a home, or they inquire about a home? So this is all Follow Up Boss connected with my Ylopo website. And so I create an automation that says, anytime any of these three things happen, and remember the storage pond was all my unconverted leads. You remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So now what I'm doing is I'm saying, anytime there's website activity in my old, stinky, dirty, boring, nobody cares about, everybody forgot about storage pond, I want to reassign the lead. And you know where I'm going to put it? In the priority pond. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add a note that say, if you don't call this lead, you're crazy. I'm taking old leads that we forgot about, that my system is reviving through a multitude of ways,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm reassigning it in the priority pond. And remember, where my agents call out of the priority pond is my list number 2. I could have called this old, dirty, stinky leads that nobody cares about, but I didn't. I'm marketing to my agents. I called it active leads. Remember? And active leads is my second list, and it's looking at that priority pond. That's where it's looking for. I have operationalized old leads coming back to my website. Now, for those of you that are asking, how do I keep people on my website? So I use, stop sharing. Let me share again, but this time I'm going to do my Ylopo dashboard.
And after that, Barry, I have something to share with everybody real quick. That's pretty awesome. And then we're going to have time to talk about a few tweaks that you can make to make it all work better for you, and answer any questions we have. Is
that your way of saying hurry up?
I think that's what he just told us. We need to button it up.
That's the nicest way I can put it.
Nicest way you can tell us.
I'm just picking on you, buddy. All right, so last 30 days, and I'm going to go to remarketing because you guys were asking about remarketing.
Mm-hmm.
Check this out. I spent $784 on this Ylopo license, and I reached 1,600 humans, right? Then I also spent $85 on a video. Now check this out. This is fascinating. With $86 on a video that Ylopo created, I reached 10,439 people that watched 7,900 of them watched the full 15 seconds. And look,
wow, that's great.
This is not, yeah, it is. But like, if you look at it, it's a very simple ad. Thinking of buying? Let us help. So this is not a house. This is a video. And what people don't understand is, because people aren't running video ads on Facebook, when you run one, it's cheap. All right. And so that's how I'm running those ads. The reason why I showed you that to the people in my storage pond, and actually all my people, but it's taking them out of the storage pond and moving them into the priority pond. So there you go.
That made a lot of sense. And thanks for pulling back the curtain. We wanted to make something very special for anybody attending this webinar regarding Ylopo and Follow Up Boss. So as you can see, there's a QR code on the screen. You can just scan that, and there's a lot that comes with this if you're able to move forward before May 12th. So you're going to get up to $600 value in doubling leads from Ylopo, which is fantastic. In addition, you'll get the free 14-day trial from Follow Up Boss, a free demo from Ylopo, a free demo from Follow Up Boss, and everything you see here. So I just wanted to share that. All you got to do is scan the QR code. I'll make it bigger, so everybody should be able to do that. In a minute, I'm going to share some information about Greg and his coaching as well. But as you guys can see, there's a lot of great questions in the chat there. Does one of you see a question that you like?
The one that says they wanted to include a signed shirtless photo of you, Andrew, in the package. There was at the bottom there, that question. I thought that was a good one.
No one wants to see that. No, nobody wants any part of that. The one that I'm seeing is if you were just getting started, what would be the systems you recommend? Now granted, Barry mentioned the kind of the 4 relevant systems today, but how would you actually, Greg, how would you attack that? What if you just getting started with all of this, retargeting, segmenting your database, buying leads, all the stuff we talked about, how would you start?
Well, first off, I would watch, training on multiple CRMs and seeing a lot of stuff that's out there being, and Tom Ferry coach, I can tell you that your academy is where I'd start. You have the videos, you have the ability to get a rep, and so I would get everything digitized in a CSV format and just start by getting things into Follow Up Boss and getting used to using it. Work with your rep, watch the videos. That's the best way to get started. I mean, that's a very broad question. You can say, okay, what other websites should I pull in, all that, but there is a learning curve, and it might seem a little intimidating, but I can tell you, once you get it and understand it, it's really simple to use. And that's what I like, is the simplicity, because you're going to get a stock package with Follow Up Boss, and Ylopo and Follow Up Boss, they do work together to help you launch. And so to get started, educate yourself and dedicate to put in a little bit of time. Watch the videos is the best advice I can give anybody that's considering this.
Anything to add to that, Barry? And also any I see you reading the questions, and I know you're pretty freaking awesome at picking the ones that can help most people. So what are you looking at? Oh, I think you're on mute. I think you might be on mute.
I always sound better when I'm on mute. So a lot of questions on script.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was to distill it all down, leads that know what they want. Let's use a showing request. You can ask them, what do you want? And they love you for it. What kind of home do you want? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked. Leads that don't know what they want. They're searching on your website, and you call them and say, what do you want? And they say, I'm not sure. I'm waiting a year, right? You got to stop asking questions that require certainty of people that don't know what they want yet. That's why they stop answering the phone. You are burdening your database with needing clarity to be able to speak with you, and you need to stop it. You need to ask questions that they have the ability to answer and that they can learn from. My favorite is, instead of calling and saying, what kind of home do you want? And them saying, I'm not sure, I'll call you when I'm ready. Ask them what they want to change about where they live. Let me say that again. Instead of saying, what kind of home do you want? Say, I'm sure you're not ready to move yet, but when you do, what would you like to change about where you live? You're allowing them that, instead of focusing on certainty in the future, you're allowing them to use their experience. And people pay therapists a lot of money to bring them into self-awareness, right? That's like a thing. And when you ask really good questions, it's actually called the Socratic method of teaching. I thought I invented a book. Too Nice for Sales was going to be the Socratic method of selling, but apparently it was a book in the 80s, so I was super bummed out. But yeah, ask them questions that allow them to use and pull on their experience. And then here's the other tip. I learned this from Dale Archdeacon, and he's got Conversion U.
Go Dale.
Yeah. When they tell you why they don't need you right now. So when they say, I'm not a good lead, they're not going to say it that way, because I'm waiting a year, I'm waiting for money, I'm not ready, I don't know. Just say how or what. How, when they say they're waiting a year, how did you decide? Mm-hmm. When they say they have an agent, what's the benefit of using that agent? When they say they're saving up their money for a house, how did you decide on how much to save? When they say they're waiting for the market to turn around, what factors are you considering? Guys, 99 out of 100 will have no idea. And as soon as you surface ignorance, fear, confusion, or misinformation, that is your moment to become their teacher and their leader, and they will value you and they will talk to you. And when you master what I just said, you will make lots of money, I promise.
I love that. I love that. And before we take the next question, we might have time for one or two more. Regarding Greg and Barry, thank you so much for being here, by the way. This has been helpful for everyone, I can tell by all the comments. But as far as Greg, you are a Tom Ferry coach, and we're very happy to have you. And we know that you're actually going to do a free webinar for anybody listening who wants to learn how to get more out of their sphere and past clients. And all they have to do is go to your Instagram handle, which we're going to drop right now. So go ahead and drop that, Michelle. It's at Coach Greg Holthaus .Tom Ferry. And so if they just go to your inbox and just type in "better with my sphere," literally do better with my sphere, you're going to do that for them. So I really appreciate that, Greg. And they're also going to learn about how to internalize scripts and not memorize, right? That's definitely something you focus on as well. Yes. So thank you both, and let's see if we can answer another great question.
Can I make one
actually,
comment?
Andrew? Oh, sorry, Greg. Go ahead.
So I want to leave everybody with this thought: the consumer views you as the market expert until you prove yourself otherwise, and that's kind of a big statement. And to be the market expert, I would encourage a lot of people to focus on giving certainty in uncertain times. And I think that kind of leads to what Barry said. And, first and foremost, the fundamentals of real estate: track the market, track your sales. This system helps you to do that, and know your market, because you're going to give certainty based upon your productivity and what's going on in the market. Because every conversation ultimately comes around to, and these uncertainties come from, I'm not certain about the market. And with what Barry said, and by understanding and knowing your market and being a market expert, a true steward of real estate, you're going to close more deals as well.
Yeah, that's so good. And I was just going to tell everybody, I'm a big fan of the Tom Ferry organization for several reasons. But I had a couple of meetings with Greg, and it's not often, and Greg, you don't know this, but it's not that I know everything, but I don't learn a lot from a lot of people. And there were several moments where things that you said that I had not considered and that I learned from. So if you're looking for a coach, I think Greg would, and I don't make any money off of him getting coaching clients, but I was really impressed for what it's worth.
Thank you. Yep. And ditto, I think we met at the last Follow Up Boss convention, wasn't it? Is that what all of us met? Yeah. I had a good time and the same. So appreciate that.
Well,
Awesome,
over the last couple of years, I've gotten to know you both a lot better, and I'm very grateful to be your friend because you give back, and you're coming out and you're not just saying what you think might work. You're actually showing what is working for you and your team right now. And so I think everybody can appreciate that. We are at time, so go ahead and scan that QR code so you get the free demo, you get the free leads, and all the specials, 10 things that come with being on this webinar. But it sounded like Barry or Greg had a few other words.
Yeah. I forgot to share the email. Somebody just asked for it. So merge fields and Follow Up Boss are more advanced than other CRMs. And so my favorite email that I'll send to my storage pond, the subject line of the email just says their first name. Are you still looking around? And then the merge field I use is just a drop down, last viewed address. Are you still looking around the last viewed address? And then I put area. Are you still looking around the 123 Smith Street area? Now I put area because sometimes there's no last viewed house and I don't want to look like an idiot. So if there's no house, it'll just say, John, are you still looking around the area? Not great, right? But are you still looking around the 123 Smith Street area? And then the body of the email just says, I might have found a few that works for you. Let me know. And then I add another merge field, last 5 preview. And that's another merge field in Follow-Up Boss. And it literally puts pictures of the last 5 houses that they viewed on my Ylopo site. I will email that out to a cold list, to an embarrassingly large number of cold contacts. And it will light up my CRM like a Christmas tree. The number of John just started looking, saves, all this stuff, because I'm relevant. I'm talking about the houses that they're looking at. And technology, specifically Follow-Up Boss and Ylopo or any other IDX that integrates directly with Follow-Up Boss, allows you to do those types of things. Another good one is, are you still looking for a good deal? And then the body of the email, I just go to my Ylopo site, I search for short sales or foreclosures. There's like 6. Put a link there. I found some with equity. Let me know what you think. Another one, they just click it, lights up like a Christmas tree. Sorry, I forgot to say that earlier.
Yeah.
Greg, any final words for everybody besides the mindset of, I think you shared this, it's no matter what they think, it's always a good time to buy.
Yes. Yeah. That's a deep conversation. We will throw that on to the next webinar.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
thanks everybody for joining. Don't forget to hit up Greg's Instagram about the Sphere and do that webinar. And don't forget to scan this QR code right now and get all the specials. We'll see you on a webinar soon. And yeah, we appreciate you. Have a great rest of your week. Take care.
Thank you.